It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
As we begin the second 100 episodes of the Rob Carson Show Podcast. Did episode number 100 already. Had a great time with Christian Toto, who is a conservative movie critic. He is also a Hollywood reporter. He's featured in Breitbart and all sorts of places. It was great to talk to him yesterday on the 100th edition of the podcast. Also, if you haven't heard it, a lot of the comedy that I've written around the country over the years, including many of the very popular bits that I did for the Rush Limbaugh radio program, that's the second half of the 100th episode, so make sure to check that out. If you've got iTunes, you can download it for free. Just go to The Rob Carson Show on iTunes, and there you go. All right. SoundCloud also has The Rob Carson Show. Audio Boom, I'm on Audio Boom as well. A bunch of different places. So make sure also to check out the Facebook pages, which is Rob Carson Show, and the website, which is robcarsonshow.com. See what I did there? That's called branding. I know. It's building. It's growing. I'm going to be doing a live video podcast. Today is the 25th of May. At 6:30 tonight, we've got a new sponsor for the show, and we've invited them to come into the studio. And it's an exciting time as things grow, And if you would, and if you can, and I'm talking to you directly right now, you who like the podcast, will you share it? Will you share it with others? I don't know what it's going to take. You know, when it goes viral, goes viral and blows up, and it will. I'm not sure what will trigger it, but I know you're going to be a part of it and you're going to be helping. So I appreciate you sharing the word. If you would do that, please. I greatly appreciate it. Okay. Sponsor of the show is Grass Monsters KC. Grass Monsters KC. I've been getting, oddly enough, a lot of calls and emails about Grass Monsters KC, about Dixie Chopper and Hustler Mowers. Kind of funny. I talked to a guy 2 days ago. He wanted to buy the Silver Eagle that I have in my garage. And I said, nah. And he has one that's 10 years old. He's never had an issue with it. I said, well, yeah, with these mowers, I mean, they all literally will run just about forever. And of course, you're going to have to replace tires every once in a while. You're going to have to replace belts every while, but that's the same way with any mower. But these things, he says he's never had a bad start. Everything has always worked out on his Dixie Chopper, and he's been mowing the crud out of a lot of lawns, a commercial lawnmower. And he's never had an issue with it. And that's the way it is with Dixie Chopper. That's the way it is with Hustler, American-made mowers that just kick butt, all right? And again, it is grassmonsterskc.com. They are at 5520 Raytown Road in Raytown, Missouri. If you live outside of the state, just Google Dixie Chopper mowers and Hustler mowers, and you can find a dealer near you. Grass Monsters KC, grassmonsterskc.com. Okay. So the big story du jour, the giant story that is sweeping across the country is this.
Because you were waiting to make your decision about healthcare until you saw the bill and it just came out. And what you thought
we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hell out of here, I'd also like to call the police.
All right, so Montana special election for Congress is today. And Republican Greg Gianforte got upset with a reporter last night. Body slammed the guy, broke his glasses, sent him away in an ambulance, I guess. The reporter's name has been Jacobs. And this is apparently what happened. He walked into the office, put the phone up, and Gianforte got a little upset about it. Now, there's been a variety of eyewitness accounts. I know there's been at least one eyewitness account. And it was a Fox News reporter. She kind of changed her tune a little bit. Last night, this reporter, Fox News reporter Alicia Acuna, said that the candidate grabbed the reporter around the neck and body slammed. She changed her tune a little bit today on the Laura Ingraham show. Here is she being questioned about what really happened.
As somebody who's done a lot of Taekwondo and self-defense, to me that might be not exactly right. And I'm not justifying, because I think Gianforte is clearly has some kind of problem here. But was he trying to grab him by the lapels and throwing him down? Versus, you can't body slam someone by holding both hands on the neck. That's impossible. So didn't he grab him by near the neck and throw him down? I'm just asking.
And I'm the one who said that. I saw both his hands go up, not around his neck like not in a strangling type of way, but more just on each side of his neck, just grabbed him. And he I guess it could have been on his clothes. I don't know. I can't say that for sure, but he grabbed him.
Okay. Now, this guy apparently entered the candidate's office without permission. Aggressively shoved a recorder in his face and began asking budgeting questions. Jacobs asked him to leave. Greg then attempted to grab the phone that was pushed in his face. And this is according to Jacobs' campaign. Jacobs grabbed Greg's wrist, spun away from Greg, pushing them both to the ground. Now, this is a special election. There's been a lot of early voting on this. And if you look at how the media, and a lot of people are debating, and I really don't know how to feel about it, to be quite honest. I'm actually kind of rooting for the candidate to some degree because the media is very hostile toward Republicans. They are. I mean, we saw that 95% of the coverage of Donald Trump has been very hostile, has been very negative. And the Republican candidates always get eaten alive by most reporters. I guess Fox News probably being the exception. And I'll also say that there's been a lot of hostile intimidation and violence towards Republican office holders, among other things. I'll get to a couple of stories that I shared with you yesterday. So is a physical altercation the way to go about getting a reporter out of your face? No, probably not a good idea. Probably not the best problem solving. However, I know how Republicans are generally treated, and maybe this guy legitimately felt. Maybe this man legitimately felt threatened. The guy came into the office unannounced, was not invited, said, "You need to talk to my communications director." The guy said no, continued the line of questioning, and then the guy running for the office, Mr. Jacobs, just said, or Gianforte said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think so." Took him down. Don Lemon, of course, had already made up his mind last night, and most of the mainstream media, ABC, CBS, NBC, the major newspapers, 3 newspapers in the state of Montana, I think it's all of them actually, have pulled their support for and their endorsement for Gianforte. But the narrative that was ready to go, in the holster, ready to be drawn, was that Donald Trump's negative talk about the media caused this attack, which, by the way, makes no sense whatsoever. Here's Don Lemon, and he had a conversation with a Trump supporter, Paris Denard, over whether or not Donald Trump had any culpability in this body-slamming incident.
So a hilarious movie called The Election, and where the candidate is just doing he's saying crazy things. He's doing.
You don't
crazy
think it's
things.
because a guy who's in office now has said very horrible things about reporters and has said that the reporters are the enemy of the American people?
No,
I think
Don,
that has nothing to do with anything. That people feel that they can get away with it, because I don't believe that you actually believe that. There's no way there's no way you believe what you're saying if you don't think that's true.
Oh, he believes it.
Now, what about Hillary Clinton calling Donald Trump supporters and Donald Trump comparing them to Nazis? What about Democrats calling Donald Trump supporters Nazis and fascists? What about that sort of stuff, huh? What about the actual violence that took place at Trump rallies that was brought on by paid-for protesters? What about a president of the United States that, while he was president, assassinations of police officers went through the ceiling because he never supported the police? He never did anything, raised a finger. Rather, he pointed a finger at the police as the cause of the problems in inner cities. He said on many occasions that the police were killing black men at a much higher rate.
Reporters are the enemy of the American people?
No,
I think
Don,
that has nothing to do with anything. That people feel that they can get away with it, because I don't believe that you actually believe that. There's no way you can't.
This was a candidate In his office. This is not somebody just going up and attacking. And by the way, you want physical attacks? You want actual attacks on people, whether they be verbal or physical? How about you go to a Democrat rally or a march with a Fox News flag? How about that, kids? They are greeted with so much opposition when it's a Democrat or left-leaning protest. Fox News is assaulted all the time. This is a reporter who was not invited to the office. He's had this publication do the same thing to him before. And this right or wrong, and if he felt threatened, then he's right. The man did not belong in the office. This is not spurned on by comments that Donald Trump has said. The violence in this country comes from the left. It doesn't come from the right when it comes to politics.
There's no way you believe what you're saying if you don't think that's true.
Oh, he believes it.
Well,
and of course, she's laughing about it. And he's immediately trying to wreck his credibility by acting, you surely can't believe that. And setting him up to knock him down.
Actually, I didn't get a chance to say anything, but I will tell you now what I think, and that is that what we have right now is a groundswelling of people who are not being respectful, who are not acting civil, and people who are just saying things
Why do
that
you
are
think that
inappropriate.
is?
And people
After a country that is, hundreds of years old, where we don't have...
Well, what about leftist protests, okay? What about leftist protests where they wreck storefronts, where they burn police cars? It never happens at conservative rallies. It always happens at leftist rallies, okay? And by the way, the real attacks are happening, the violence and intimidation are happening against Republicans. All right, and it started during the campaign. It started last year as George Soros started spending money, as the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign started sending radicals to Trump rallies to pick fights. Okay? This is a completely separate incident. This is not a presidential or a congressional candidate who is a powder keg fueled by the rhetoric of Donald Trump. This is a singular incident.
Incidents like this, for the most part.
I don't.
And all
I
of a
don't
sudden,
know.
we're having incidents like this now. You think it's just a...
Wait. We're having incidents like this now? Tell me the other incidences, Don Lemon. What the hell other incidences are you talking about?
Incidents.
No, I don't. I think if we go back and look at history, we can see that, especially in this country, we have had a lot of instances of violence with politicians and people going back and forth. But my point is this.
Yeah, for instance, violence with politicians. I guess JFK was killed by a communist, a leftist. Yeah, that's violence.
We have an issue going on right now where people think they can do anything with their fist and with their hands, like this candidate did, and we have people who think they can say anything that they want to as well. They are both wrong.
And you don't. Come on, Paris. You don't think it has anything to do with someone saying...
Don, if you're trying to make a connection or
they've been trying for the last year to tie violence to Trump supporters, and it's just not there. Not at one single Trump rally did someone wreck the windows at a Starbucks. At one single Trump rally, did anybody set something on fire? It's all coming from the left, and it's another ridiculous damned narrative that the media immediately, no matter what happens with Donald Trump, no matter what happens with someone who is a Republican, they're going to go after Donald Trump for it. Just because Donald Trump gives the media what for on the campaign trail, what about the Barack Obama talking about getting in people's faces when he first got into office? All right, what about that? What about Barack Obama saying that we need to reward our friends and punish our enemies? What about that stuff? What about just sitting idly by as cities burned and not saying anything, and police officers getting murdered?
I'm not trying. I'm telling you I am. I'm not trying. I'm just saying that I can't believe that you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth.
I do, and you clearly don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth.
I do understand.
See, in most sane people. All right? So Don Lemon is saying that because this man does not believe that Donald Trump's rhetoric about the media had anything to do with this, because this wasn't a random attack. This was not this congressman going after a reporter walking down the hall. This was a reporter who walked into his office unannounced, stuck a phone in his face. The guy said, "Talk to my press director," and he refused to do it and kept going. That is aggressive, folks.
And I don't think, I know that you don't believe that.
Do not believe
you are obviously
that
on television
by
just saying that because you feel that you
See,
have.
but this is just a pissy-assed line of questioning by Don Lemon, assuming that you can't believe this because it's so impossible to believe. I believe it, all right? And I'm not insane. And again, it makes no sense to say this instant of a congressional candidate who is hounded by the media constantly, who has a reporter walk in unannounced into his office, says, go talk to my press director. He refuses to do so, continues the very close quarter interrogation or a questioning of him with a phone or a mic in his face. And once you say, listen, I can't go, and you got that continuing, to me, that constitutes an invasion of space and a possible threat.
To defend everything about this particular person in office. If
What
you
particular
actually
person?
sit there, I'm
what
talking.
does Donald Trump have anything to do with what this candidate did? Let's hold this candidate for responsible.
They're the fake people
Let's
back there.
hold
They're horrible people. They're the enemy of the American people. If you think that that doesn't have anything to do with it, then you are sadly mistaken, my friend.
That is just falderall. If it were just someone randomly attacking a reporter, and he said, Donald Trump, he's wearing a Make America Great hat again, and said, I'm going to beat the hell out of you because Donald Trump says I should, then you maybe have a case. But this was completely separate, and honestly, to draw a line from Trump's statement about the media to this incident is really, really stretching. But that's what they do about everything. That's what they're doing with this whole Donald Trump campaign, working with the Russians to throw the election. There's no evidence whatsoever, but they've already drawn a line. And they've already got some sort of a circumstantial case that they've drawn up in their mind. That's falling on its face, by the way. Isn't convincing some people to change their minds. Maxine Waters has shut up about it, about the possibility of impeaching Trump. Congressman Al Green, who seriously needs to shave his forehead, he says he is crafting articles of impeachment against Trump right now. And he's looking like a complete fool, and he's going to regret it. But anyway, that's what's going on with this congressional candidate. And when you consider, think about this, guys, real quick. Think about right now the popularity of the media versus like Congress. I mean, they're way, way down there, like 20% approval. I just saw a poll today, 80% of Republicans feel that the media is dishonest. Even 55% of Democrats feel like they're not being told the whole truth by the media. Do you think that this guy body slamming a reporter is going to impact Republicans going to the polls? No. It's not going to impact it whatsoever. If anything, it might cause them to get out and vote. We will see what happens tomorrow. You want to talk about some inflammatory rhetoric? Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, was talking to Wolf Blitzer, I should say, about Trump's rhetoric against Muslims. This on the heels, of course, of the Manchester attack, where I believe 22 people were killed, 120 injured, most of the people injured and killed little girls going to see their first concert, Ariana Grande. Now, Donald Trump is speaking very clearly about radical Islam in Saudi Arabia, in Israel. He's made it very clear he didn't back off calling it radical Islamic terror when he was talking in Saudi Arabia. He's made no ifs, ands, or buts about fighting terror and fighting ISIS. I believe there's 50% more bombs being dropped on ISIS targets than during the Obama administration. He's told General Mad Dog Mattis, annihilate ISIS, let's get this done. But this New England Democrat feels that Donald Trump's rhetoric could cause more ISIS-like attacks here in the U.S.
Do you believe, Senator, that the attacker deliberately targeted this concert in Manchester because it featured an American performer? Some have suggested that.
Some have suggested this. Now, Wolf, who suggested it? Probably other people in your newsroom. They're suggesting that the attack was on Ariana Grande. because she was an American? Who died, dumbass? Were they Americans in the audience?
Yeah, I don't know. I have not been briefed on this attack yet. All I know is that ISIS has designs on bringing the fight to us here in the United States, which is why we have got to complement this military strategy with increased intelligence sharing with Europe, and a commitment to try to stop giving ISIS recruiters recruitment fodder. And so many of us are worried about some of the rhetoric of the Trump administration because we worry that that combined with robust online recruitment might end up in an attack like this happening in the United States.
Yeah, a couple of those attacks already happened, and they happened during the Obama administration. So for your freaking line about rhetoric creating and recruiting ISIS is BS. ISIS rose under the weak presidency of Barack Obama. Okay? San Bernardino, the Pulse nightclub. Those happened under the Obama administration, and Obama was weak. You think that this is about a president and rhetoric recruitment? It is about a caliphate. It is about establishing a global caliphate. Makes no sense. Again, here you go. You're trying to draw lines. Trump makes people want to kill reporters, and now Trump is causing ISIS to gain recruitment. This is such crap. It's been spewed before. It's sickening. By the way, there's a new sheriff in town, I guess, near Dallas, Sheriff Terry Murphy. And I like this guy. He's kind of like the new Joe Arpaio now that Arpaio is no longer the sheriff in Maricopa County in Arizona. This guy has said some supposedly controversial things with regard to the Ariana Grande attack. He said it a day or so after the attack. Immediately he was pounced upon because he is a conservative and a Republican. Turns out he's pretty much right about everything. Here's the story out of Dallas.
Well, Kaylee, Denton County Sheriff Tracy Murphy is not backing away from his comments. He says he knows he has his critics, but he also has a lot of supporters, and they happen to be his voters.
I've never shied away from telling you my beliefs or how I feel about things. I'm not politically correct.
Over 1,000 comments reacting to what Denton County Sheriff Tracy Murphy has to say about the Manchester bombing. This is what happens when you disarm your citizens, when you open your borders without the proper vetting, when you allow political correctness to dictate how you respond to an enemy who wants to kill you, when you allow these radicals to travel to Afghanistan and Iran and simply let them back in.
I'm an elected official. I ran on a conservative Republican platform, so I don't think it should be any surprise to anyone.
His public post also says, what will it take? This happening at a concert in Dallas or a school in Denton County? If we don't do something quick, this country will die of political correctness and the fear that someone's feelings might get hurt. At the time of Murphy's post, nothing was known about the person behind the attack, only that he was a suspected suicide bomber. ISIS had not taken responsibility for the attack until this morning. Many details about the bomber and his possible link to ISIS are still unknown.
He probably needs to get his facts straight a little bit more before he makes comments like that.
He was right. He was right. They've arrested about 20 people related to this. This guy left and went to Syria and came back. His father is a radical. The authorities were so afraid to, they knew of this guy. They knew of this terrorist. They knew he was trouble. But political correctness allowed him to continue to foment hate. You don't want to suspect him of being a possible terrorist. My God, that would be stereotyping a Muslim. That would be Islamophobia. Oh, just go ahead and go to Syria and fight and then come back. And look what happens. This guy was 100% right. He was spot on. And it doesn't take a genius. You know, it takes an idiot not to realize that this guy is right. He's just stating the obvious. 99.9% of the time, these acts are committed by this type of person, this ideology. It's not a stretch to immediately think, oh, yeah, hey, there's a Muslim. He went to Syria and came back. I think he's an ISIS terrorist. I think political correctness is probably one of the reasons why this wasn't stopped before it actually happened. And we've heard there was an ad, Paul Ryan, talking about Obamacare or Medicaid cuts, I guess, years ago. And it featured a little old lady being shoved off a cliff. You saw that, right? Whenever Democrats feel like their government largesse is going to be limited in any way, shape, or form, unlike you and I mean, we have to look at our budget. We have to go, honey, we're not going on a vacation this year. We don't have the money. We're not going to increase our spending because we're making less. Government can keep increasing their spending. Baseline budgeting. That's what it's all about. So Mike Mulvaney is the budget director for the Trump administration, and he presented the budget, I guess it was earlier this week. And it includes, not cuts, decreases in the increase in spending. So, say, for instance, it's supposed to be a baseline budget increase of 7%. Wouldn't it be nice if you got a 7% increase every year with your salary? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often unless maybe you're a CEO and you got a pretty sweet deal. But not for the rest of us. So, say, for instance, you're planning on 7% and you only are going to get a 4%. That's what this is all about. Democrats caterwauling because it wasn't as much as they wanted. Budget Director Mulvaney appeared on Fox and Friends to address
the Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney joins us right now from our nation's capital. Mr. Mulvaney, is it true children will die, as the mayor of New York says, and seniors will starve?
Yeah. Good morning, y'all. I wish I could take that clip of de Blasio, just show it to politicians as an example of why people don't take it seriously. That is demagoguery at the very highest level. It undermines the credibility of both the politicians and the institutions, and it's just a real disappointment. By the way, to the point, I think it was Bernie Sanders, I couldn't see it, who said that we're going to take the one nutritious meal away from seniors. Mm-hmm. We don't cut meals on wheels. So it's so frustrating, but I'm glad to have a chance to sit here and talk about how we do one thing, which is very important, which is we are defending the taxpayer. This is a taxpayer-first budget, and that's how we approached it.
And it's about time, isn't it? When I heard things like $31 billion cut from the EPA, and again, it's not a cut, it is a reduction in spending, all right? It thrilled me. The EPA, the IRS, they have been essentially weaponized to go after people. And it was wonderful to me to see government have to live within its means for a change. Because, by God, we've all had to do it, right? All right. A little bit more from Budget Director Mulvaney.
Actually, we increase spending on Medicaid. We increase spending on a bunch of different things. We just don't increase it as fast as Congress wants to.
Wait a minute. So you do care about the elderly? You do care about the poor? You do care about kids?
Yeah. Remember, in Washington, D.C., if you spent $100 on something last year and you spent $104 on it this year, they call that a cut, which is just outrageous.
I wish that my budget was cut like that. I wish my budget was cut like that. My budget was cut pretty dramatically a couple of years ago, and it's been cut pretty dramatically recently too, pretty darn dramatically. But things are turning around with you guys. You guys are doing wonders for me, and the show is growing, and sponsorships are coming. The swag line is picking up. Father's Day is coming up, by the way. I wanted to mention this real quick. We have two websites, Teespring and TeePublic. Both spelled with a T-E-E, okay? Teespring, teepublic.com. And all you do is go to either one of those and just type in conservatees, E-E-S, and you're going to see the swag line. We've got hats and hoodies and mugs and stickers with politically incorrect sayings on them, like Che Guevara's iconic face and the expression murderous commie douchebag, not a hero. Veganism is an eating disorder. Sometimes war is the answer. You can't coexist when others want to kill you. TEE Spring or teepublic.com, Conservatees, or you can go to my Facebook page. I will post the links to that there, and that is at Rob Carson Show. Chelsea Clinton is just a spoiled, entitled doofus. I mean, not terribly bright. She's like her mother and father. They're academics. She was speaking at a women's issues session, and I guess Jenna Bush was on stage with her and a few other people. And I just saw this, and I want to play it because it's typical faculty lounge mental masturbation. Listen to how she ties climate change into a host of other ills.
Which is to be able to kind of carry multiple concerns in both our head and our heart. I'm just listening kind of to the concerns around education and climate change, kind of women's health, child marriage, access to technology. All of those are, of course, interconnected.
Okay, so child marriage and climate change and access to technology are all tied together. Well, I want to see that spider web.
We have to focus
Really?
on each of them kind of in their interconnectedness and also as kind of individual outrages that do demand our attention.
Okay. Speaking of gobbledygook, Nancy Pelosi was speaking to an economic summit 2017, I guess. I think it was yesterday, which was Wednesday. And I don't know, honestly. And the woman, if you've listened to Nancy Pelosi, she is barely coherent most of the time. This time, I swear, I don't know if she's having a stroke, if she's having some sort of a misfire of the synapse. I want you to listen to Nancy Pelosi on stage.
They talk about Russia's undermining our...
Now, she is, by the way, talking about Russia being involved, colluding with Donald Trump. Oh, and she also brings in, I believe, the NRA into this. Check it out.
They talk about Russia's undermining our elections. They did it. Isn't it? Not even a question. They hacked.
Yeah, there is. There's no proof of it. Undermining the election. There's no proof that Russia was able to impact the election at all. There's no proof at all. That's absolute falderall.
They leaked. They disrupted. The question is, was there collusion between the campaign and next? You can't know until you have the full-fledged.
Can I just ask one?
And to have a president say to the, if he did, to the director of the FBI or the DNI, the director of national intelligence, or the NRA person,
or the NRA, or the NRA,
that they should not go forward. It raises questions that need to be answered in a facts and law way and not hearsay.
Before we
hearsay is all you have with regard to Russia collusion in the 2016 election. That's what you have. that's exactly what you have. That's all you have. It's remarkable. I don't know if she's having a stroke or something. I think she's needs to start taking an aspirin every day, or just greeting people at Walmart. University Madness. Piper Heron, a professor at the University of Hawaii, is now on the professor watch list for saying white men should be banned from teaching, according to her professional watch list profile. Okay? Wrote an article about how white male professors should resign or take a demotion in order to improve diversity. Heron wrote, if you are a white cis man, meaning you identify as a male and you were assigned male at birth, you're a cis. So, okay, wow. It's kind of like cis-E. A cis man. I'm a cis man. Dude, yeah, I'm a cis man. That's crazy. Anyway, you almost certainly should resign from your position of power. That's right. Please quit. Too difficult? Well, as a first step, at least get off your hiring committee, your curriculum committee, and make sure you're replaced by a woman of color or a trans person. What can universities do? Well, that's easier. Stop hiring white cis men. This is pure, unadulterated hate speech. This is the hate speech that so many on campus are saying. People like Milo Yiannopoulos or Ann Coulter are saying. The only hate speech that's happening is that these people, leftists on campus, hate what conservatives say. And consequently, and I mean, I'm 100% serious about this. Copyright Carson 2017. Leftists call hate speech. They yell hate speech when they hear speech they hate. That's the hate. I want you to listen to this. Now, this is where things are getting frightening on campus. I've got a son who's going to go to university in a year. I've got a daughter, she's still 5 or 6 years away, thank God. But at Hunter College, they're going to offer students an, quote, abolition of whiteness course, okay? To discuss how white supremacy and violence influence individual identity. So the white males or white females in this class immediately are suspect, immediately are white supremacists and capable of violence. Abolition of whiteness. That sounds to me like, that sounds genocidal to me. Doesn't that sound genocidal to you? And it's getting worse. It's getting worse on campus every day. The course fulfills one of 4 graduation requirements in political science, and its instructors requested that it be added to the list of courses that satisfy diversity requirement. This to me is frightening. We'll be examining how whiteness and/or white supremacy and violence is intertwined with conceptions of gender, race, sexuality, class, body ability, nationality, and age. This is all basically saying you're racist, sexist, classist, you body ability. So I guess you are anti-handicapped or you're racist, nationality, and ageist. If you're white. That's what it's saying. Okay? The description continues, adding that a petition for this course is on file with the College Senate so that it fulfills pluralism and diversity parts B, C, or D. What a bunch of shit. What in the hell? Abolition of whiteness. That is a genocidal term. What was it? How about if it was abolition of Jewishness? How about that, kids? How's that sound to you? How does that sound to you? Unbelievable. There was a protest of Charles Murray a while back. I guess it was March. Vermont's Middlebury College resulted not only in the conservative speaker's talk being shut down, but also injury to a liberal professor who took part in the event. She was attacked by thugs. Here are the a-holes, the students in this in the auditorium where this man was supposed to speak, calling names, because when you are losing an argument, you scream racist. When you are losing an argument, you scream homophobe. That's what this is going. That's what this is all about. Here's the mob shutting down free speech. Racist, sexist, anti-gay. And they succeeded in shutting down free speech. Now, this Allison Stanger, Middlebury political science professor and known Democrat, was trying to leave the area with Murray on March 2nd. Stanger said on Facebook, a thug grabbed her by her hair, another shoved her in a different direction. I feared for my life. She needed a trip to the emergency room where she was diagnosed with a concussion. Now, the students who took part in this protest, their punishments range from probation to official college discipline, which sometimes places a permanent record in the student's file. Some graduate schools and employers require individuals to disclose official college discipline in their applications. It's a wrist slap. No criminal charges being investigated. The police did not identify any specific individual who hurt Allison Stanger as she and her party left McCullough Student Center on the way to their car, okay? The police established that as many as 8 masked individuals, this is commonplace on campus, they put masks on and then they wrecked the place. They were present using tactics that indicate training and obstruction and intimidation. A number of individuals who were in the crowd, more than 20 people outside the event venue, were identified, many of whom were not members of the college community. However, on consultation with the Addison County Sheriff State Attorney, it was determined that there was insufficient information to charge any person. If you have a mask on, you rip it off, okay? Police, you rip that damn mask off. You arrest them immediately if they are wearing a mask. That is not about free speech. That is about intimidation. Okay, that is about concealing your identity to commit a crime. That's what that's all about. That's like wearing a mask into a bank. You can't wear a mask into a bank because there's a reason for it. You're disguising your own identity because you are going to do something nefarious. It is not just about, you don't cover your identity when you're just protesting speech. You cover your identity when you're planning on wrecking something or hurting somebody. That's what it's all about. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting sick and damn tired of it. Really, really tired of it. And concerned about it, guys. Because my son's going to college. He's a white kid. Abolition of whiteness? Genocide. I swear to God, words mean something, guys. Henry County Commissioner requested a few months ago that a local Civil War museum remove its Confederate flags. This is in Atlanta. The Nash Farm Battlefield and Museum announced that it can't conduct its mission properly. Will close June 1st. Apparently, Commissioner D. Clemens requests that all Confederate flags be removed from the museum in addition to the gift shop in an effort to not offend anyone. To exclude any Confederate flag would mean the historical value has been taken from our exhibits and a fair interpretation could not be presented to each guest. The post read, conservative flags were on hallowed ground, as were the Union flags. To remove either of them would be a dishonor. This is so stupid. I'm not trying to sound strident or angry here, but it does piss me off. Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. This is a Civil War museum. There were two armies that fought. One won. And they're saying that you can't have a Confederate flag in a Civil War museum? What the hell kind of sense does that make? It makes no sense. Even in a World War II museum, you're going to see some Nazi flags. You're going to see German weapons, things like this. It's part of the conflict. It's not necessarily a thumbs up of approval. It's just recognizing history. This is just bat guano crazy. Oh, by the way, there's a new video from the Center for Medical Progress. Planned Parenthood executives got together for their National Abortion Federation, had their big annual convention. Planned Parenthood executives, other top abortion advocates making shocking comments. And this really is pure evil. This is evil, all right? This is. I don't care what you say. You can say you're pro. Do I think everybody who is pro-choice is evil? No. I think the act of abortion, when it's just to kill the baby because it's an inconvenience, I think that's evil. But several attendees made jokes about eyeballs from aborted babies and other body parts rolling down into their laps. Talcott Camp, a top pro-abortion attorney for the ACLU, joked I'm like, oh my God, I get it. When the skull is broken, that's really sharp. I get it. I understand why people are talking about getting that skull out, that calvarium, whatever that means. Dr. Ann Schutt-Ain, Planned Parenthood abortionist, showed describing abortions this way, quote, if I'm doing a procedure and I'm seeing that I'm in fear that it is about to come to the umbilicus navel, to the navel, I might ask for a second set of forceps to hold the body at the cervix and pull off a leg or two so that it's not a partial birth abortion. This is pure evil. Pure evil. Honestly, I hope someday we wake up from this nightmare. I hope that we wake up from this nightmare one day and we realize that this is genocide. This is genocide. More than 100 eco-friendly Olympic medals won at the Rio Games last year have been sent back because they're rusting and decaying. The medals were hailed as a masterpiece of sustainability because they use recycled materials in place of traditional precious metals. Such a small amount of metal, by the way. It's so stupid. However, less than 12 months after they were handed out, a substantial number of the prizes were already worse for the wearer. About 150 of the medals, particularly bronze ones, have gone wrong since the Games ended last August. Now, bronze medals were partially made from copper industrial waste, while the gold medals are actually recycled silver, placed with 0.2 ounces of actual gold, accounting for 1.2% of its total weight. So some athletes are saying they have had to have people stop touching them because they're falling apart. It's just unbelievable. I think to wrap things up today, I want to mention this this story. It's gotten a lot of play. Mandy Runkles, 18-year-old senior at Heritage Academy. This is in Hagerstown, Maryland. She it's a principal. It's a Christian high school, and she got pregnant. And the principal is saying that you can't go to graduation because you got pregnant, and that's against the bylaws of the school. And I get that. It's part of the bylaws. It is. There's a whole bunch of things you can't do at this Christian school. But the principal says that after countless hours in prayer and discussion, his board's decision to bar a pregnant teen from walking in her graduation ceremony is holding her accountable for her immorality and is the best way to love her. Really? I don't think so, man. I don't think it's the best way to love her. Not at all, man. School's principal, David Hobbs, released a statement regarding the situation of the teen who has a 4.0 grade point average, was president of the student council when she discovered she was pregnant in January. Principal says Maddie's being disciplined not because of pregnancy, but not because she's pregnant, but because she was immoral. Hobbs said in a statement posted on the school's website explaining the students at the school sign a scripturally based pledge that states that they will protect their bodies by abstaining from sexual immorality and from the use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs. All right? Says also, Heritage is also pleased she's not chosen to abort her son. However, her immorality, I should say, is the original choice she made that began the situation. Now, Runkles has said that other kids of the academy have broken their pledge. They never suffered punishment as severe as hers. She was stripped of her leadership positions, informed she would not be permitted to complete her senior year at school, would have to finish classes at home. She made her confession to the principal with her father at her side. She said, I decided I wanted to confess what I did and ask for forgiveness from the school. The other kids who had broken other rules, even when they were caught, they still lied about what they had done. It seems unfair. I tried to make it right, but was shot down. Ultimately, several days of suspension. She was told she could return to class to complete her classes, but she'd still not be going to graduation. This is the principal again. Says that a wise man told me that discipline is not the absence of love, but the application of love. We love Maddie Runkles. The best way to love her right now is to hold her accountable for her immorality. That began the situation. I don't know, man. I have a problem with it. I really have a problem with this. He who is out without sins cast the first stone. And this is, yes, they have an immorality clause. But or rules, I should say. But why weren't the other kids? Why is this worse? I mean, if you're going to make them all a part of the immorality clause, do they have a scale? How many points? Okay, guys, you're going to get 6 points if you're drunk, 7 points if you use drug, 9 points if you whatever, and if you have sex, and 10 points if you get pregnant. Nothing like that. There's nothing like that. To me, it sounds like she is being overpunished. And I had suggested on Facebook and Twitter that she get her own graduation ceremony. I think she should. Now, Runkle's situation was brought to life by a pro-life organization, Students for Life of America, which asserts the teen is being unfairly punished, and she already admitted her mistake, confessed to the school, accepted relinquishment of her leadership roles. I mean, dear God, what the hell else you want, man? What the hell else you want? Here's a kid who's a 4.0 student. Isn't Christianity about forgiveness too? I don't know. By banning Maddie from walking at graduation, the administration and board collectively decided on a disciplinary measure of an obviously public nature. Okay, so she's being publicly shamed by not being able to attend. Most of the other kids, you never know about it. She's got the big old, scarlet letter on her, man. From what we've learned thus far, no other student in the school's history has been banned from walking in graduation for failing to abstain from sexual immorality and from the use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs. Maddie is the only student, past or present, banned from walking at graduation. All right? By the way, the Susan B. Anthony list, national pro-life organization states Runkle's decision to have her baby deserves compassion and support. And I agree. And I mentioned this because my mother was biological mother, I understand, was a college student when she got pregnant, and she had me, and she gave me up for adoption. And I'm kind of passively looking for her because I just want to say thank you. I don't want to be involved with her life or my dad's life, my biological father, not my dad, my biological father's life. I don't want anything to do with him. I'm not meaning to, get in anybody's face or wanting to, attend your family reunion or all that crap. I just kind of would like to know who I laugh like, maybe who I look like. And then I'd kind of also like to know, I'd like to thank her. I'd like to thank her for having me. Okay. I want to thank you for listening. Nice segue there. That's a real broadcaster there, folks. Woohoo! Episode 101, folks. Episode 101. Please share with others as we work on making this thing viral. Check out my Twitter feed at Rob Carson. I'm getting new followers every day. Facebook at Rob Carson Show. The website, robcarsonshow.com. The sponsor, at least until my next podcast. We're adding another sponsor. But grassmonsterskc.com, grassmonsterskc.com. They're on Raytown Road in Raytown. Terrific American-made mowers, Hustler and Dixie Chopper. Do it, okay? Don't go to the big box hardware store and buy the cheap mower that's chained up out in front of it, all right? Do not go there. Get a Dixie Chopper. Get a Hustler. You will not regret it. Also, make sure to check out tpublic.com and teespring.com, T-E-E in front of both of those. And just look up Conservatees for these politically incorrect swag line that I have. Like I said, T-shirts, hoodies, tanks, coffee mugs, stickers, laptop cases, phone cases, the whole deal. T-E-E Spring and T-E-E Public. Look for Conservatees. Have a glorious rest of your day, and we will see you back here for episode number 102.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.